we're so happy to have you on with us today because there's a whole lot of content coming out, and not all of it is very positive, is very sweet and good natured as this is, and so something like this, you must just think, I got to do this, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. You know, what I one thing I love is, you know, great American media and great American pure flicks. They basically, if you were a parent and you're going out on a date night and you say to the babysitter, "Hey, anything on this channel is good. You, we're good with anything that comes on here. Just leave it on here. The kids will like it." That's pretty cool. And I think that's it's look. The point is, it doesn't have to be for everyone, and not everyone has to do it all the time. But it is a great thing to have, so that you can, so that it exists. And yes, it's really. I did two super edgy projects, and then I got to do this one, which is the opposite, and it feeds. This is one that is feeds your soul. I love that I can do a movie like The Engagement Plan, and where it has sort of a faith forward message and a family message, and it's beautiful. And was thrilled to get asked to do it.
Hmm.
My character Ed, father and farmer, and father of two beautiful girls, and he's just a stand-up guy, and that's a fun character to play. And the fact that Jake Schumacher's character has to come through me is I'm Jack. I'm sorry, but Jack has to come through me to get to my daughter, basically, and have happy ever after is a great obstacle, and it's fun. And then I have to kind of go through him because he's going to end up with my daughter, and I just think it's sweet and it's fun, and that this movie is adorable.
Yeah. Well, and that's a beautiful scene where you give your approval, and so it's got to be one of those things where you have so many good memories on the set, and also what a cast. Is there a certain day or
Yes.
scene or time that you think will always stand out to you, like where you're just thinking, I'm always going to remember this?
Well, it's the first time I've ever been working on a movie and we had to shut down for a hurricane.
Oh.
And we were in South Carolina, and the hurricane was coming through, and we were right in the path. And so when we were on the farm, we're trying to figure out where are they gonna put the animals? How can they protect them? It was things that you actually go through with as a real farmer would have to deal with, and it was really, I won't say it was exciting. It was scary. It was life changing in a way. It was amazing. But we eventually ran for cover. We have friends that live in South Carolina, and we went up to their house, and it was no problem, but a lot of rain. But everybody was okay. All the animals were fine. Nobody was hurt, and it was quite something.
Hmm. You've had such a fantastic career that people look up to, and they think, "See, now that's what I want to do." But you make it look a lot easier than it is. What kind of advice would you give to somebody who wants to follow in your footsteps?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I would say, look, I feel like in today's world, there's a lot of people who aren't willing to eat crow. Everybody's so proud that nobody will let anyone say anything bad about them. Nobody will. Everyone's so overly sensitive, and I found that in my case, nobody was really waiting to say anything great about me, and I had a lot to learn. I knew that, but I stayed in there, and it made me. Instead of getting angry about it, it became my fuel, and it was my fuel to never quit and to fight and to get in there and work harder. And I just think that's me. I mean, that's what worked for me. The problem is with this thing, there's so many different ways to go about it, to get started in the business. But I think you have to have thick skin, and you got to have a lot of courage. And in my life, my faith has helped me because I never feel like I'm alone, and I love that. And I think that that is. Uh, I don't say that somebody has to have faith to get into the business. That's, the rest of it is. But for me, I feel like someone always has my back, and that's a pretty good feeling. It's a great way to go through life.
Absolutely. Well, you'll like this. So my co-host is Drew Pearson, one of our great Dallas Cowboys, caught the Hail Mary,
Sure,
went
I
in the
remember.
hall. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
really.
he wanted
Yeah.
me to make sure that I asked you your Hail Mary moment, which is that moment in your life or career where you just had to go for it. It worked out for you. What do you suppose that was for you?
I will never forget when I started on Happy Days. I came in and I literally was running home from evening workouts, trying to so that I could get home in time to watch the show on TV. And next thing you know, I'm on the show. Out of a series of freaky incidents, I ended up being on the show, and I got quote unquote discovered. Some photographs, and anyway, Gary Marshall invited me to be on the show, and the next thing you know, I'm like literally the biggest fan of the show, and then the next day I'm on the show. And I remember walking out on stage the very first time because it's live. So you're doing it in front of a live audience, and not only are you doing it on television, but you have a live audience. You're doing like a play, and I thought I was not going to make it, and I thought I'm just going to walk out and I'm going to faint. And I remember walking on the stage and getting through that first night, and I thought, this is it. This I did it, and I was so proud of myself, and I was so scared in so many different ways that I would be a complete failure. And when I look back on the courage that it took, there was nobody. I didn't know anybody in the business. My family didn't know any in the business. I was totally on my own. All my friends were still finishing their last year of college. I had nobody there, and I was just standing there in the corner by myself. And I really believe it was my faith, and it was faith in me, and the fact that I'm a guy who doesn't mind a challenge, and if I fail, I'm going to get up. And I have many times failed, but I just get up and do it again and again and again, because every time you fail, you learn, and eventually, you make it work. And I would say that was it for me.
Yeah. Well, part of that is that success mindset. We talk about that on the show. And is there something that you do keep in mind that keeps you on the right path even when things are tough? Because hey, they're up and down in this business, right?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in do unto others as
Mhm.
you'd have them do unto you. And I really, really, what you put out in the world comes back. And I just believe that with all my heart. And I try to live my life that way. And I find that when I don't, life doesn't go the way I want it to. It's not the way I want it, the way that I would, it's not the way. I find that my life works better when I make it run by doing the right thing. And whether or not that's correct or incorrect, I don't care. It works for me. And it puts good things into the world.
Hmm. I love that. Well, last thing, this movie is really, really special, and I can't wait for everyone to check it out. But I think people might get something different out of it depending on what it is that they've gone through, or maybe their family dynamic, or things like that. So, what is it that you're hoping that people will think about, talk, or discuss afterwards?
Good question. I really believe, especially living in the two coasts, New York and California, and the rat race where we're always, I need more of this, I need bigger that, I need to do this, I need to go there. My job has to get, I need better, I need bigger, and this is my plan. I got it all set out. I've done all this, and you realize it's not our plan. We can do everything we can, and we should, but we're not. We think we're in control, but we're not the ones in control, and that's my belief. And that often I found that that's the case for me when I think, oh, I got it all. It's not, and that sometimes God doesn't always give you what you need, what you want. He gives you what you need,
Yeah.
and I think that that has proven to be true for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, before we let you go, is there anything else coming up for you that we need to look out for? Because I know you're always working on something really amazing.
Yeah, we just wrapped season 2 of Shrinking on Apple TV, and that's
Hmm.
with Harrison Ford and Jason Segel, two guys you might have heard of.
Yeah.
And so, and it's completely different. It's certainly it's very edgy and funny, and then I have a very edgy western that, in fact, it was just in Dallas, just wrapped there last week, called
Oh,
Silent
great.
Thunder, and it's also super edgy. So I'm covering a wide spectrum of material right now. But my wife, Gigi Rice, and I produced and did it together.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, we're looking forward to seeing that one. But for now, we're going to tell everyone to check this one out. We really, really enjoyed it and really
Engagement Plan.
appreciate your
Check it
time.
out. You won't be sorry. Yeah.
Hmm. Appreciate your time and all the great answers. Great to talk to you again, Ted.